This is a short video regarding the right to rent check that landlords will need to start making from October the 1st, 2022. We've been having to do this for a while, even during COVID, where we're doing online virtual checks with people, where we will check their documents and their legal status to remain in this country. The other thing to also say, this only applies to England, not Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. So in a nutshell, post-Brexit, the government have put in processes, or they are developing processes to have landlords check whether the tenants who are applying to rent their properties have got the legal right to remain in this country. In effect, we've become the Home Office. We are now having to do checks on people, whether they are allowed to live in this country or not. It's a bit bonkers if you ask me, but we're now in this position as well. That's another set of regulation that comes our way as a group of landlords. So if anybody has got lots to say about landlords, just hang on, because when you think about the amount of, it is a business, it is not one person having one house and renting it and extorting people out money or anything like that. This is an actual housing business. So what do you have to do in terms of the right to rent checks? In a nutshell, I mean, there's so much regulations, there's so much information on the dud.gov.uk. If you just Google right to rent checks in Google as well, you'll be able to see all the links that come through. But in a nutshell, when people apply to now rent a property from you, whether they come from Europe or the rest of the world, we have to check whether they have the right to remain in this country. And to do that, there are some documents that you can check physically, like passports, birth certificates, and some other. It's all listed on the government website. But in effect, if they've got a passport, they've got a driver license, they've got some form of ID that proves that they are either born here or allowed to live here, then that's pretty much your checks that you can do. But you'll have to take physical copies and store them, because just in case there is a need for you to at some point refer to them. If they have a time limited amount on their visa application, for example, or their leave to remain, it's your responsibility as landlords to also go back and when that expires, to make a note of that, so that then we can go back and check whether they've been given extra leave to remain or not. So really, it's a lot of extra work now we have to do, and it only applies to England and not the other home countries. And this takes place from the 1st of October this year. So please make sure you've got your processes in place to do that. You can do the physical checks, but also online. There's a system online that the government has put together, that you can go and plug in the details of the tenants. There's something called a code that I think the tenant gets, that then they send that to you. You then use that code to basically pull up all of their immigration status from that code. So that then also, then once you've done, it's a paid service as I understand it, once you've done that, you can then not have to check anything else, because that system or that portal about this person's immigration status basically covers everything. So just to end, we got the online one, a paid service. You put the details, you get that like a code that they will give you about themselves, and that gives you all their legal status, whether they can stay or not, and then that takes your compliance issue out of the way as landlords. Or the second one, you actually have to physically check the paperwork, the passport, the driving license, the birth certificate, or whatever people have in their possession. So yes, we have now also become the Home Office, not alone, let alone everything else that we've now been facing in terms of regulation. We've got an extra set of processes to follow.